Hey, what's up, my dudes? Gotta say, track review here on MX versus ATV Reflex. Man, it's been a minute since we've done one of these. Okay, so this is my first time ever seeing this track. This is the whole Farm 14, I think Kevin Windham Farm 14, some shit like that. This is made by RedRider. We need to all give a little shout out to these boys that are still making custom tracks on Reflex in 2021. We just need to give these boys a big round of applause, okay? Because that's pretty kick-ass, I just have to say. Oh, look at that rut. That was a nice little inside rut. Then I jacked that to shit. Oh, my God. But anyways, yeah. Just wanted to really shout out those track makers still making tracks for the PC version of Reflex, because still, honestly, to this day, this is one of the funnest experiences you can have in an arcade motocross game, period. Even to this day. So it's very cool to still see certain individuals still making custom tracks for this game. This track's pretty sick right here, bro. Jump design wise, like you can just tell it's got the fun factor, it's got the ruts, it's got the roughness, it's got all those little elements that just automatically sort of make you interested in the track, right? There's an inside rut. It's a little tricky hitting these ruts first lap on the track here. So he's got a helicopter. He's got a helicopter object up there that's not even moving. Oh, man. That's kind of funny. We need some animations on that bitch. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's really hard to do stuff like that with just being a random community track maker dude. I don't even know if that's possible to animate stuff like that on a custom track on Reflex. So RedRider's doing all he can out here, you know what I'm saying? Just thought that was kind of funny, but okay, I've got quite the top speed here on this Dokomoto Saki, if you know what I'm saying. I'm going to need me a little Saki after this vid. But, alright. I keep kind of naturally migrating to the outside of that corner. Not really sure why I'm doing that, but if you guys don't really know basically the history behind RedRider, he's a dude that's been making a bunch of those Replica National. He's been involved in making a bunch of the Replica National tracks. That's why you see such a good design to these ruts and roughness and stuff like that. Because he's had a lot of time in with doing those Replica tracks. So this track right here definitely fits that same sort of mold, that same sort of pre-made ruts, roughness, braking bump, rut, all that kind of design. It kind of fits down that same sort of vibe, which it's a really good formula they've kind of come up with as far as how big they're making the ruts, how big they're making the braking bumps and everything like that. I feel like they got that shit pretty on point as far as making it feel like that somewhat standard, skill-gapped, pre-made ruts and roughness design. And it's so funny because here we are, even in a game that I consider has the best terrain deformation of any other motocross game, and they still come in here and put a proper amount of pre-made ruts, a proper amount of pre-made roughness. Yo, RF, MX Simulator, what the fuck are you doing? Going in there and making those bullshit, smooth, no character tracks. And here we are in a game that has a better terrain deformation, and they're still doing it in this game. That should go to show you a little something, man. Terrain deformation can only go so far, especially on a custom track. If you just go in there and make your custom track totally smooth, no pre-made, just absolutely glass flat, smooth, small roughness, small jumps, no character, and you just completely 100% rely on the terrain deformation to design your track for you, or you rely on the road system to totally, build your track for you over time, your track's not going to be very well received in the custom track world. I just have to tell you, because most people just hop on these tracks, they ride like 10, 20 laps on it in single player, and that's how they experience it. This is not like a oh my God, this guy's going to run 300 laps on this track with a full gate of people, and he can actually experience the track in a certain kind of way with the terrain deformation turned on, right? I feel like that's really where a lot of the custom track makers are going wrong nowadays on MX Simulator, but nonetheless, I don't have any idea what the real life Farm 14 or whatever the hell actually, I mean, I've seen a couple little videos, but not really like, I don't know it like down to a science, you know what I'm saying, boys? I don't know it like down to a particular granular of dirt or what jumps or where or whatever the hell. So yeah, man, either way, what else is there to say? Yeah, the off-track is not anything to call home about, I mean, but it is what it is. I can't really assume that the Farm 14 in real life is all that exciting or crazy of a off-track or biome or anything like that, so I can't really blame RedRider too much here. He's just trying to make it all kind of fit into what it looks like in real life, so I feel like he achieved that pretty good here. And we're also dealing with a video game that came out more than a decade ago, so, you know, things are not going to look like a milestone game on a custom reflex track. That's just kind of an obvious thing, right? Boy, this sidecock view on reflex, man, I put some time into this shit back in the day. Oh, man. I haven't really played a lot of it here recently, but woo! You got to be on point on these ruts, man. Ain't no doubt about that. But yeah, I guess my point with talking about the terrain deformation is, even if you come out with a game that has the greatest terrain deformation you could ever possibly imagine, you still should have some tracks that have pre-made ruts and big pre-made roughness and big pre-made braking bumps and ruts going up, pre-made ruts going up the jump face. Like, just because you have amazing terrain deformation doesn't mean you just totally forget about pre-made. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a really big problem that MX Simulator is having right now. They have just totally forgotten how to do pre-made. It's like they're just totally blind to pre-made, and a road is everything. You know, a road is life, dog. Okay, well, we'll see how good that goes for you, MX Sim. We'll see how good that goes for you, big dog. Oh, man. Interesting jump right there. Do I still have the first-person mod on this right here? Can't really tell exactly. I think I do. I don't know for sure, though. Been a long time since I went in there and played first person. I think this is the mod. Pretty sure. But anyways, if you guys don't know, the mod is like basically necessary first person mod to have on if you're really playing any serious amount of first person on Reflex on PC, right? So yeah, I think I do have a little bit too much top speed for this track. I can kind of feel the bike's not really getting maximum power. It's not really able to get to the top of the gears or anything like, or you know, top of the power out of each of the gears. You can kind of feel it's just not quite getting there, if you know what I'm saying. A little too much top speed for having these big ruts and tighter corners. Couple corners get pretty tight on this track. Track's got a nice combination of, you know, tighter rut corners, and it kind of opens up a little bit. Jumps are pretty easy, but they're not like just mind-numbingly boring. They're kind of somewhere in between, right? So there is still some jump fun factor, but it's not complicated by any stretch of the imagination. Nice size berms, nice size outside berm in that corner. Maybe if I, yeah, I think I need to let off just a little on that double before. Might be able to give me the momentum to hit that all the way properly. But as I said, this is my first laps ever riding on this track. Sometimes I like to do these track reviews where I just give you the straight up, you know, first impression opinion, the whole caboodle right off the bat instead of running 300 laps on it and then doing a track review. Sometimes you get a little bit more of those raw opinions when I just come in here and review it at first time seeing the track. But yeah, nice inside rut there. Yeah, it's like they got the ruts just big enough where you can dig into them hardcore and you can also cross rut, but they're not like fantasy big. That's kind of where I would say these ruts are sitting. Even the outside berms and stuff too, they're not anything there's nothing about this track that is fantasy. It's definitely going way more down the realistic vibe route, but at the same time, it's not super, super one-to-one scaling. I feel like it still is a little bit expanded. So it's not, absolutely mind-numbingly boring hitting a jump on the track. Let me just crash about 300 more times here, boys. It is very tricky trying to ride on a track that you don't really know while you're trying to talk about the track, while you're trying to keep up with what you're talking about. It's definitely a skill to that in itself. But, yeah, man, either way. Is this like the most amazing reflex track ever? No, it's not. I would just say it's a fun little track, nothing too special about it, nothing too terrible about it. It's a chill little fun little, more so like, not really easy, but not really hard track, somewhere in that medium difficulty. I would say overall rating, I don't even know. I mean, this kind of pre-made is obviously going to get the rating up there, at least above like a 7 somewhere. This is definitely no 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or anything like that. It's probably like a 7 out of 10. Okay, cool little wall, inside cut, jump there. Got some rollers. Okay. So yeah, man, either way. That's about all for this one. I appreciate all support. We'll be back on that next one. Later, dudes.